Hey everybody, it's Professor Evans here. It is Monday, March 21st, and today we dive into our week 3 topic, tone and imagery. So at this point, hopefully you've had a chance to take a look at the materials for the week. You've had a chance to sort of set up a plan for yourself and figure out how you're going to tackle the readings, the discussion board, and the paper. So tone and imagery are two things that are very, very closely connected. Tone is the author's attitude about the subject that they're writing about, and imagery is the tool that they use to create that tone. So imagery is the author's word choice, and it helps us, as the word says, imagine what's going on in the story. And the more that we can picture and imagine and relate to what's going on in the story, the more we're able to connect to what's going on in the story. So it's really, really important for authors to use imagery. It's one of the strongest tools they have. So I just want to show you how I would go about thinking about tone and imagery and kind of model this work for you. So as we said, imagery are words that help us form a picture, imagine, and we use our 5 senses, right? Any words that help trigger our 5 senses to imagine what something smells like, looks like, sounds like, tastes like, or feels like, okay? So I'm going to read this excerpt of Harrison Bergeron by Kurt Vonnegut, and I'm going to pick out some words that stand out to me when it comes to imagery. And I'm just going to go ahead and turn my camera off for this. That was a real pretty dance, that dance they just did. Huh? Said George. That dance. It was nice, said Hazel. Yup, said George. He tried to think a little about the ballerinas. They weren't really very good. No better than anyone else would have been anyway. They were burdened with sash weights and bags of birdshot, and their faces were masked so that no one seeing a free and graceful gesture or a pretty face would feel like something the cat drug in. George was toying with the vague notion that maybe dancers shouldn't be handicapped, but he didn't get very far with it before another noise in his ear radio scattered his thoughts. George winced. So did 2 of the 8 ballerinas. And if you've never read this story before, you're probably thinking, what the heck is going on? This story is set in a futuristic world where the government is really obsessed with making everybody equal. So they implement these handicaps to try to make sure nobody can take advantage of any of their talents. So take a look at the words I picked out here that help create an image in my head. So I can picture these ballerinas burdened with sash weights, these big weights around their neck, bags of birdshot, and that they have masks on. So this is a pretty crazy image here. Very bizarre, very unsettling. And then George tries to think about this, but he hears a noise in his head that scattered his thoughts and made him wince. So it doesn't describe the noise for us, but we know it was enough of a noise to scatter his thoughts and to make him wince in pain. So what are you picturing for that? For me, I'm almost picturing some sort of loud, high-pitched kind of noise. Okay. So we've picked out the words that stand out to us, as I said. And then we want to think about, what is the emotional impact of those words? Do those words make me kind of feel good, or do those words make me feel kind of bad? And I know it sounds really simple, but that's where you want to start, okay? And that's when we can start thinking about tone. What is the author's attitude toward the subject or the story? So we have positive tones and negative tone words, okay? So an author may seem energetic, enthusiastic, humorous, or maybe their tone is more dark, foreboding, gloomy. And here's the way I think about it, okay? And here's the way that I can structure my thoughts about tone and imagery. Based on the fact that Kurt Vonnegut uses words like burdened and winced, the tone of the piece seems to be overly gloomy. Because when I think of those words burdened and winced, it makes me feel kind of gloomy, okay? And it also makes me think that the author's tone, the author's attitude is almost kind of gloomy when they're writing it. Okay, so I want you to try out this work when you are reading your text this week, and always be thinking of, what do the words make you feel? What do they make you picture? And based off that, what do you think the author's attitude is when they were writing it? All right, so good luck this week. Hopefully you've got a plan that works for you. And I'll check in with you later on this week. Bye-bye.